Kaugnay pa rin ang resulta ng investigasyon ng CAAP sa pagbagsak ng eroplanong sinakyan ni yumaong DILG Secretary Jesse Robredo. Makakapanayam natin dito sa studio si retired Captain John Andrews, Deputy Director General ng CAAP. Magandang umaga po, Captain John Andrews.
Good morning, Harry.
Yeah. Sir, narinig natin yung pronouncement ni President Aquino and he said na there was some fraud involved in clearing the aircraft that Jesse Robredo rode to his death. No? Ano hong susunod na hakbang ngayon ng CAAP?
Well, upon receipt of the AIB investigation by the
Ano po yung
Director
AIB,
General,
just for the knowledge of the viewers?
Aircraft Investigation Board.
Aircraft Investigation Board,
Yes.
which is under CAAP.
No, this is a separate board
Iba pa yan.
created by CAAP, so there would be no collusion.
Oh, independent po ito sa CAAP?
It's independent,
Okay.
composed of people in the private sector, airlines, and after their investigation, and this was submitted to CAAP.
Submitted to CAAP and then you submitted it to the President?
No, first submitted to the President, then to CAAP.
I see.
Upon receipt of this, the Director General instructed me to issue out a 90-day suspension, preventive suspension for Abalos. This is the
Abalos is whom again?
CAAP inspector who was supposedly falsifying documents.
Okay. And then the air taxi company, Aviator, which flew the late Secretary Robredo, has been suspended all this time?
They have been suspended all this time pending audit of their operations. This is standard.
Okay. Ngayon, ano po yung bagong information na lumabas dito sa report na to?
Now, during the investigation, we're going to discover how far the graft and corruption in that department has reached. And we will charge people concerned.
So, alam po natin na you've been with CAAP mga less than 6 months, no?
Yes, 4.5 months.
4.5 months at galing din kayo sa private sector. Kayo naging piloto sa Air Force. So, mahaba rin yung experience nyo. So, pagpasok nyo sa CAAP, ano ho yung nadatnan nyo? Ano ho yung mga una nyong mga nakita? Sabi nyo kasi parang may corruption na sa sistema.
Well, it was, the organization was almost dysfunctional. Each department had their own little kingdoms. And they were operating within their own confines. There was no unity. Although there was then the objective of getting back to Category 1 as far as the FAA downgrading was concerned.
Category 1 po ay, ano po yung sistema? Kasi na-downgrade tayo
To
for
Category 2.
air aviation safety.
Yes, because of significant safety concerns. Now, this has been going on for 5 years.
5 years lang.
Yes.
Pero malalim na yung problema.
No, the problem was not that deep. The problem was we were getting a lot of consultants. Consultants coming in, paying them tremendous salaries. And these consultants were just making more complex the problems we had by having new manuals done wherein the old manuals are sufficient. Because as far as the aviation industry is concerned, we have to comply with ICAO minimum requirements.
Okay. So, sinabi nyo na dysfunctional ang CAAP. Medyo, para sa isang pasahero, tulad ko, medyo nakakatakot pakinggan yun, na yung nagre-regulate po ng mga airlines natin ay dysfunctional. Ibig sabihin, hindi maayos yung pagpa-function niya.
No, that is why we immediately took steps. All department heads in CAAP were replaced by people who are now working properly. Now we're getting into the upgrading as far as Category 2
So, pinalitan na. So, in other words, na-identify na yung mga...
They have all been identified.
Okay.
Fortunately, the airlines are the safest. Well, for the past 12 years, there have been no airline accident in the Philippines.
Okay. Pero itong si Inspector Abalos na sinabi nyo na mukhang may kasabwat ng Aviator dito sa sinasabi ni Pangulong Aquino na may fraudulent safety clearance, hindi siya natanggal noon nung nagkaroon ng cleanup, no?
No, because cleanup is this way. We have people who are organic in the organization. When you are organic, you cannot be dismissed unless you are charged and proven. Now we had a lot of job orders, we had a lot of contract workers, and these were the ones we immediately were able to weed out.
So itong sabwatan between an air inspector, aviation inspector, at saka isang private air service, air charter company, katulad ng Aviator, madalas ba nangyayari yung ganyan? I'm sure there are inspections all the time, no? So yung inyong observation, was this a major problem that occurs?
This does not happen with the airlines.
Commercial airlines. So, ang sinasabi niyo,
With
Philippine
commercial
Airlines, Cebu
yes.
Pacific.
All the airlines, this does not happen.
What does not happen?
The collusion,
How do we know?
we know because
do you know?
this is a fact.
Okay.
Because the airlines will complain. Now, the different small airplanes operating air taxis or flying schools, they're different. This department, when we entered, had only 2 inspectors, and we had more than 60 flying schools operating
60 flying schools
with 2 inspectors.
2 inspectors. So, ang sinasabi niyo, mas common itong sabwatan or
Yes,
dysfunctional inspection?
At that level. That's why we're going to do a complete audit of all the flying schools, including air taxis and also maintenance organizations.
And do you have more inspectors now?
Yes, we are getting more inspectors now.
At marami raw banyaga o dayuhan na nag-aaral dito ng flying.
Yes.
Doon lang sa aviators ni in the late Jesup Bahinting, marami daw Indonesians at kahit yung mga South Asians nag-aaral doon. So ano pala to? Parang it's like
It's a big industry.
It's like English language. People foreigners come here to study flying.
No, they come here to study flying because flying now is a good business.
Why the Philippines and not let's say Singapore or Malaysia or they also go there?
Because we have a lot of flying schools that have come up, sprung up, like mushrooms.
Parang nursing schools in a
Yes.
way. And it's because it's business. So basically, are you saying it's the industry has grown so fast, the regulatory activities have not grown at the same pace?
Yes, because CAAP was very concerned with getting back to Category 1. So this other issue was more or less left aside.
And Category 1 applies mostly to commercial airlines, yung mga lumilipad sa Amerika.
International flights.
I see. Okay. Doon tayo kailangan humabol.
Yes.
So medyo naiwanan yung regulatory aspect para dito sa mga smaller companies.
That's correct.
Yung mga flying schools, air taxis. 60 pala ang flying schools, no?
Yes.
And then, do all these flying schools also, are they also air taxi services? You can hire their planes to take you to a location?
They either have air taxi operators permit, AOC we call it, or a permit just to operate a flying school, as a flying school, the aircraft. But all the aircraft have to be airworthy. Okay. This is what the inspector does, declares the aircraft airworthy.
And the plane that Jesse Robredo rode was declared airworthy. Yan ang issue dito sa report ni Pangulong Aquino.
Yes, it was declared airworthy by spurious documentation. It was supposed to have had a test flight.
It was a fake inspection, in other words.
Yes.
So anong posibleng parusa ngayon? I mean, you suspended the inspector involved sa CAAP, but how about the company itself, the Aviator?
We are starting investigation now. We've created a committee to investigate all involved. Because as far as we are concerned, it is not only Abalos that would have been guilty of this. Because there are several steps that have to be taken before an aircraft is declared or signed off as airworthy.
Okay, bago nag-crash yung Aviator plane noong August, and then namatay nga si Jesse Robredo, may isa pang flight ng Aviator air taxi service din, nag-crash sa Camiguin noong March.
Yes.
Pero hindi po sinuspinde ang Aviator noon. Bakit po? Bakit hindi sila sinuspinde?
I would not like to discuss this now because that was before our time and we have not fully investigated this. But there are a lot of anomalies regarding that particular crash. For one thing that has been brought out by the investigation board was the aircraft did not have an airworthy certificate. It had a lapsed airworthy certificate. A student pilot was flying the aircraft with passengers.
So, that's pretty shocking. Na estudyante ng flying school, ng Aviator, ang nagpalipad ng eroplano na
With passenger.
hinire ng grupo ng mga turista. I understand that
Yes.
the people who died, the people who rode was a Norwegian family, a family of tourists from Norway. Tapos ang nagpalipad ng eroplano nila, isang Indonesian yata yung
Yes.
student. So, despite those findings, hindi sinuspinde ang Aviatur noong March. Kasi, syempre, this is in hindsight, pero pwedeng sabihin ng mga ibang nakikinig ngayon, sana kung inayos na yung problema ng Aviatur noong Marso pa lang, noong unang crash, sana, buhay pa sana si Jesse Robredo ngayon.
A lot of things would not have happened if things were done properly. Unless we can stop the collusion between the regulatory body and the operators. The same thing is going to happen again.
And what kind of assurances are you now giving the public, the flying public especially?
The flying public, as far as the airline is concerned, is the safest airlines in the world.
Oh, really?
We have just finished the ICVM. That's the ICAO validation mission about 2 weeks ago. Report said the mission was a failure. It is not a failure. We have achieved a lot of improvements. There are still some issues that have to be closed, but they're no longer significant as far as safety is concerned. Now, we have time to close all these issues, and by February of this coming year, they are coming back, probably give us green card.
Okay, so basically, sir, just to summarize, sinasabi nyo, malaki pa yung problema ng CAAP, pero inaayos nyo. Very safe yung commercial airlines, pero dito sa mga maliliit na aviation companies at flying schools, malaki pa yung problema.
Yes, it is a big problem, and we are addressing it now. We have, in fact, started addressing it before the crash of Secretary Robredo. But unfortunately, it happened.
Ano yung pwedeng outcome ng investigation yun ng Aviatur? Okay, of course, hindi pa tapos itong prosesong to. Ano? Nagbigay ng pahayag si Pangulong Aquino ng fraud, basically, on the part of Aviatur and CAAP personnel. Sinuspindi niyo yung CAAP personnel. What's the possible outcome for Aviatur? Pwede ba silang isara?
I would not want to speculate. They can be closed, of course, if they do not comply with the regulations as far as Philippine aviation regulations are concerned. They will not be able to continue. But if they comply, then that is another issue.
So in the meantime, they are not flying.
Yes.
Pero narinig namin yung someone involved with management Aviatur, they said they hope to be flying by December. Is that too optimistic on their part?
Well, people can hope.
Okay.
But unless they can prove, they will not be released.
Okay. Maraming salamat. CAAP Deputy Director General John Andrews. Thank you very much for your